French have always been excellent at multiple things. Baguettes in the morning, fresh out of the cooker. Strikers that come over and play for the Arsenal. And hot hatches. Today, we've got a 2010 Clio RS200, which is very nicely modified, may I add. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to do a video on this today. I want to get back into car reviews, and we're dipping our toes in with this thing. Let's jump into it. Now, this Clio that you see right here is actually currently owned by my brother-in-law, but it is going to be sold soon. Fingers crossed if everything goes to plan. He's just had a baby. He doesn't have enough time to justify owning this as his dedicated track car, so it needs to make some space for some family time. But I've grabbed the key off him, the weird little card that they come with. Here, check these out. Card type thing. Can we get that in focus? That is the key for your Clio. Interesting, eh? And I will be taking this out for a little rip around the Essex back lanes, around where I live. I love the roads around here, and this is one of the perfect cars to do so. I want to jump in, I want to talk about the mods that's on this one, what sets it apart from some of the other ones on the road, what makes this a fantastic buy right now as well, and also just what makes them a fantastic car, because like I said, the French really do hot hatches excellently, and this is definitely in that bracket. So let's take a little look around at the mods that have been done on this one before we take it out on the road. So we will, as it is just me today, I'm going to be holding the camera. I'm going to be behind the camera instead of in front of it for a little part of it. So we'll go around the car here, starting at the front. Now, one thing I actually prefer on the 197 over the 200 is the front end. I'm not a massive fan of the stretched headlights on them, but it's a very personal preference, that thing. I do think the rest of the car looks fantastic. A thing I absolutely love about the Clio RSs is the bulging arches. You can see just here. That's what sets these things apart from the standard Clios. And I always feel when you're spending extra money on the hot version of whatever car it is, it's nice for it to have something on the bodywork that sets them apart from the standard smaller engine variants. Now, you can see it's got a TRS tow hook down here. This has been Liam's track car, but it's been lovingly looked after too, with the little fluorescent touches that he's added on too in here and in the grille. Just a little personalized touch by him to break up the panda color scheme. Down on the bottom of the front bumper too, we have a Weeder front splitter that is really nice, and it really adds a little bit extra to the car. It brings it a little bit closer to the floor without actually needing to slam the car. I really like that little touch. I think it looks great. We've got blacked out badges. We've also got blacked out badges on the car, black wing mirrors and black roof. Once again, nice little touches on the vehicle that have been done just to give it a little bit more character. The front wings, the wider front wings that I mentioned, have a beautiful air duct in them too. They just are very stylistic, very pretty to look at. And I just think they look great. I think they're a really nice, sporty looking wide arch instead of just them being flared. The wheels. Now, the wheels. One of my favourite parts of this car are the wheels. The Ultraleggera OZ wheels. These are beautiful, they're strong, they're light, they're fantastic to look at. And not to mention, they're wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, which are a great tyre too. As we step round the back of the car, we have the Clio Renault Sport spoiler. Now, even on my own personal Clio, I have so many people telling me to buy these. I don't want one on mine, but I do think it does look fantastic on this one. We need to crouch because I need to show you this diffuser down here. It's a beautiful black diffuser, but that's not what we're looking at here, people. We are looking at these Arkopovic exhaust with the carbon tips. This sounds amazing. Check that. Not only does it sound amazing, it's a very expensive exhaust system, and I also think they've been discontinued. Don't quote me on that. That's just an opinion I think that I heard, but from what I understand, they're very, very difficult to get hold of now, so this car hasn't fitted, so we're gonna make the most of that beautiful noise this thing makes. It is amazing. Pop the boot here. Oh, Clio. We're just popping the trunk here to show you inside the car. inside the car, instead of it being completely stripped out like a lot of track cars do, this one has been completely recarpeted too, keeping it as a much nicer place to be on the interior. You'll see the safety devices roll cage, which is also in there, adding stability to the car, a little bit more rigidity and safety in the event of an accident. But these things are fantastic anyway, 5-star safety rated, so go and crash them. It doesn't matter, you probably won't die, but it's not my fault if you do. Drive responsibly, everybody, obviously, in certain situations. We've got the 2 bucket seats that we're going to go and have a look at in a second with the TRS white harnesses, matching the colour scheme of the car. So, in the cockpit of the Clio, it's got a Volantec adapter to keep all of the original controls, cruise control and all the rest of it on the car, even though it's been retrofitted with a Sabelt steering wheel for Renault Sport. It's a beautiful piece that's been retrimmed in Alcantara with a little white stitching part at the tops. So you know where the center of the wheel is when you're on track. You haven't even got to think about it, you just know where it is naturally. There's other parts of this interior that I absolutely adore. The yellow rev dial on here, I wish mine had one of those. I think it's absolutely awesome. I love that little extra touch that Renault have done there. With these micro GT bucket seats too, they're beautiful, they fit my fat ass, and they're actually a really comfortable product too. I really like these. These are very. But other than that, the interior is standard basic Renault, which are kind of cheap, but we'll get to that when I'm driving it. See, this is something about the French that I love. I love that they're so stubborn. Yes, we're going to produce lots of right-hand drive onto these. England, Australia and Japan all want them. But we're going to leave the engine stay, the bonnet opener on the left side because we're French and that's our side. So the car has 402 cat cams that have been mapped by RS tuning. These give this car a little lumpy sound. It sounds fantastic, very responsive, really nice to drive. I only know that because this is the second time me trying to film this video because I was so unhappy with the first one. So forgive me in the delay of this upload, but we've had to wait a week to refilm. We've got PowerFlex bushings all over the car, stabilizing all of the older bushings. Now, if you do buy one of these and it isn't this exact one or hasn't had that done, I'd highly recommend budgeting that in. Cars like this, just any car of age, bushes perish. It happens, it's a natural thing. PowerFlex do great stuff. So hit up Pure Car Modify or 621 if you want some of those, because they are dealers for that. We've also got this car, the pièce de résistance, that you can actually see under the bonnet. On this we have the KW Club Sport 2-way dampening system, an amazing suspension system that I love. I love KW, I love their quality, it is fantastic. We've got the K-Tech induction kit on this as well, just freeing up a little bit more airflow, forcing a little bit more cold air into this naturally aspirated 2-litre engine. Oh, I could talk for ages about these things. I love them, I think they're fantastic, but this one, like I said, really does benefit from one major part of owning one of these, and it's how they drive. They really are superb. So I could sit here and talk about how brilliant it is and how I love the wheels and all that sort of malarkey all day, but I'd rather, oh, Renault quality there. Whoops. Let's just put that away. Whoops.
These cars are so good. So you now join me in the RS200 Clio. This car has some very tasty modifications that takes it from being a really good hot hatch to an excellent car. I love how this thing is put together, so hats off to the fella that built it, because Liam bought it pre-done basically. I think it is absolutely incredible. Things I love about the Clio, I love how light they are, I love how cheap they are to work on, to maintain and to run. Everything is cheap on these things, from insurance, tax, everything is cheap compared to obviously more powerful vehicles with bigger engines. With them being from France, we live in England, stuff's cheap to get in as well in terms of parts to replace stuff. Although if you go through a main dealer, it's going to be expensive, and specialists are quite expensive as well, to be honest. But if you want to know about maintaining stuff, click the video that's up in the corner right now, because I go over some stuff that I had done on mine a little while ago. Like I said about the interior, it's not particularly like luxurious place to be, but it's also not a bad place. Everything is kind of plasticky, but it still does a job. And to be honest, when you're driving this thing, you're not really caring. I'm going to be completely honest. There's some plastic on the dashboard. The way these things drive are just so. It's what it's all about. It's what the experience is all about with this. It's one thing I'd like to know about the Renaults is that they have all of the control system around the steering wheel, which is normally great, but this has got a wheel extender on it, so they're a little bit further away from my hands than I would like, but it does bring the steering wheel closer to me, and I get this wonderful driving position. The bucket seats are sat slightly lower on the subframe, so it's just a really, really good driving position. I feel in a lot of control, I still see a lot, but I am sat lower. I don't feel like I'm on top of the car. I feel like I'm in it. It feels really, really good. The Brembo brakes that this comes with from factory are just awesome. I think they're the same as, or very similar to what comes on the old Hondas. I only reference that because obviously that's what I grew up with, so I'll let this guy go as well. But they work great, and like I said, the car's quite light anyway. The weight of the car standard will be on the screen right now. Obviously this has had the back seats taken out, but it has had the safety devices roll cage put in, so probably balances it out somewhat. Right, we're about to come up to some of my favourite roads in the area. And we're gonna hopefully give this car a little bit of stick if no one gets in front of us. Obviously all within the law, but you get to really see my reactions to driving this, because this is what I have learned about Renaults, is they're just so much fun, and they're playful as well. So they remind me, oh my goodness, why is this road so wet? They remind me heavily driving experience, and this reminds me so much of the old lightweight Japanese cars I used to throw around, all the Civics and the little Toyota sports cars and all that sort of stuff. Heavy on the brakes, you can feel the front, the nose dip, turn her in. Ooh, it's a little bit light on the rear. So I don't want to crash this because this car is going to be sold soon. You hear a little beep, and that is the shift light, little noise telling you that's when you need to change. It's nice, I don't have to keep my eyes on the rev counter. I can focus solely on the road ahead. They're just so much fun. They really give you a pure driving experience that I feel gets lost in a lot of modern cars today, a lot of modern hyper hatches I like to call them. I don't really feel like the Type R and the Golf R and all that are hot hatches anymore. I feel like they're on a different spectrum now to just a light front wheel drive car with a 4-pot engine, NA, that you have to rag, you have to wring its neck to get the most out of it. And that's what you want. You want a car you can drive really hard, not really be breaking too many laws while you do it, and have a great time. Now this one does benefit from a lot of stuff. Like I said, it's got the Quaife ATB differential in it, which is absolutely superb. Oh my god, I highly recommend this. Now after driving one, I want one for one of my cars. I think it is so good. The RS200 benefited from steering upgrades from the factory and a few other little modifications over the 197 to make it a all-round better car. But this has also got a lightened crank pulley, it's got a lightened flywheel, it's got full power flex underneath, so every bushing has been changed. Just strengthens up the rigidity of the car again, makes it feel so much better than what a 2010 car probably would nowadays. Oh man, the cams sound fantastic. That Archipov exhaust is ringing in my ears and it sounds beautiful. I love the little carbon tips on it too. I think that makes them so special. I love how it picks up through the power range, the linear growth. It reminds me a little bit of like a Honda. Like I really mean that. Just how they drive, they're just so good. A Honda but French. When I'm driving these, it's fun. And for me, that's what hot hatches are. They're fun. with a more modern one like this, you benefit from safety. And I know it's not the coolest thing in the world to talk about safety when you're talking about a hot hatch, but these are a 5-star safety rated car. So if you're a parent and you're looking at getting your kids something a little bit spicier than a 1.2, if they're getting older, done good at uni or something, you're gonna treat them, you know you're getting them into a fast, fun car. They can take on track days, road trips with their friends, trip to Nürburgring, and it's a 5-star safety rated car. It's gonna be good if you're in an accident. But that doesn't mean go and drive one into a tree. I do not recommend that, please. Do not drive into a tree. I love the low down torque that the Clio has as well. That's something I've noticed. It's much better than other preppy 2 litres that I've driven. They're naturally aspirated anyway. The steering is just so light and pinpoint. It's fantastic. This is a belt steering wheel, fits perfectly into my hands in this driving position. Absolutely love it. I don't want Liam to sell his, and I don't really want to get rid of mine either, but because they are so good. But the best thing about Clios is they're still so affordable. You can go and pick up a rough around the edge Clio 197 RS for $3 grand. That is crazy. That is so much car for your money, although you're probably gonna have to spend some. I recommend saving up a little bit or borrowing a little bit if you can afford to, and getting a better car, one like this. I think Liam's selling this for about £10,000. It's got over 10 grand in mods on it. It's superb. Now, like everything, it is not all perfect. The Renault, it's still a Renault, so it has Renault reliability. Certain design aspects of these cars are so bad. I still don't understand how Renault come up with this. So the drainage systems to push water away from the car, the points where it could settle, all amount in the scuttle panel where the window wiper mechanism is. So that can rot. What? You're French. It rains a lot in France. Bro, what? There's other things too. Some of the upgrades for these are not cheap. Although running and maintaining them is affordable, if you want to modify stuff, is not cheap. I'm going to put a few of the prices of like the stuff I've spoken about that I like the most on the screen now. I don't know them off the top of my head. I'm going to have to look them up while I edit this, but I know for a fact this Quave diff is not cheap. These KW coilovers are not cheap. So yes, this car is absolutely fantastic to drive because it's had money spent on it. It's had a lot of money spent. So because it's had the money spent on it in the right places, like I said earlier, it's made a very good car, an excellent car. But if you want the perfect fast road, B-lane, bashing, Nürburgring toy, this could be it for you. Because like I said, they're cheap, they're still modern enough not to be completely rotten, parts are very available for them, and they're French. So parts are easy to get for us here in Europe. But the Clio has one major flaw, and this is one that's very well documented and well known within the community. The gearboxes are made of the finest French cheese. I don't even know if there is French cheese, but that's what it's made of. They are very prone to gearbox problems, issues, and breakages. So spare that into account. If you are going to be doing Nürburgring trips and giving the car a lot of grief, maybe just scope out where you might be able to get a spare gearbox from if you need one while you're over there. So, like I said, not everything's perfect, but who wants perfect? That's boring. Oh, the noise. Oh man, okay, we're stuck behind some slow cars now. So the drive home is going to be much more chill. I really love this car. It's become a massive favourite of mine in the more modern stable, of which that garage would never have seen a French car before. I was very much all Japanese all the time, Hondas, Nissans, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Now, I'm very much open to all manufacturers, and I'm so glad I have opened my heart, my head to others, because getting to drive cars like this makes me go, wow, what else have I missed out on? and that is why I'm dipping back into these videos. I hope to be able to discover the joys of all the cars that maybe I've missed before. Like I said, I have one of these, and if you've checked out that video that I clicked up the top, you'll know I've spent a lot of money on it recently, getting it to be really, really good, and it really is really, really good. But I've got an announcement, so make sure you stay tuned, because I'm going to film that over the weekend after we give it a little clean up. I don't want to tell you guys what it is, because it makes me sad and it makes me look silly, because I just said other things, but it is what it is. Some stuff's happened recently, and I'll just get to that in the next video. So as I head home, I normally would finish up at the house saying my bits, but the problem is my camera's about to die, so I'm going to do it now. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please hit subscribe. This year I'm really am going to be trying to document as much car stuff as I can, features, reviews, and I'm also going to be doing a lot on the road too. So make sure you stay tuned for more car content, more honest car content from myself. I'm going to have a great time doing it, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you've ever experienced a Renault Clio, what you think its competitors are, so I can go and jump into some of them if I can find people with said vehicles. And I'm also on the hunt for more car culture here in the UK and further afar. So I'll see you next time on the channel. Please subscribe. Have a great day. Stay safe. See you next time.